What is up, you guys? My name is Bo, and this is my channel where I do guitar stuff. Doing it a little bit differently today because I just got a new microphone. I shot this video last night, and my little one was just being kind of crazy upstairs. This is down in my basement. The lighting is not as great, but it turned out pretty decent. So we're using this Gorgomyte cleaner. It is a fretboard cleaner and conditioner, and I just want to go over and give you a little video. So this is sped up to 1.5 times speed to kind of show you how easy this is to use. So basically, you're going to cut off, all your strings. We're going to do a full restring, which usually I do one string at a time. I'm weird, I don't know. I just kind of prefer doing a string at a time because I'm just used to doing the Floyd at this point, so it just kind of trained me to do it like that. So we want to use gloves because this cleaner is like a lemon oil based. It won't hurt your skin, it won't do anything like that, but it will make it smell like the cleaner for like another day or two. So I'm just showing you right here how dull this fretboard and dry this fretboard was. Had some extra gunk from the factory on it. I, was kind of upset about getting with the fretboard like it is from the factory. And then I'm just kind of showing you how much crap it gets off of everywhere. Just whatever excess gunk, finger gunk, pick gunk, gunk from the strings, maybe some excess crap from the factory that's on there. And it's just going to really condition the fretboard, shine everything up, and then it's going to clean and kind of polish up the frets while you're doing it. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy this product, is because it's a one product thing. You don't have to like tape anything off really. It's not going to hurt anything. I'm just not going to get any of it on the actual paint of the guitar itself is the only thing I'm really worried about. But you just take this, you get it in this big sheet that I showed you, and then you just cut little 2-inch like squares, and you just start going to town on it. So what you do, let it sit for like a minute or so, and then you're just going to take a rag. It says to use maybe a finer rag like a t-shirt or something like that. I just grabbed a rag, just a crummy old dish rag, and you're just going to buff the crap out of it after you have, let it polish up for a little bit, let it sit on there for a minute, and you just see, even after I've polished it up, after I buff it, it's just going to get all this extra gunk off of there too. So we're just going to go, a handful of frets at a time, 5 or 6 frets at a time, and then you'll see me kind of going back over certain ones as I'm going. And then you'll see here, like, look at that difference. That's just crazy. What a difference that makes. In real time, this whole thing maybe took me, 10 or 15 minutes to do while I was restringing it. It's not hard to do. If you notice, this is just kind of my temporary little workbench. I didn't want to do a big setup, so I just have a coffee table down in the basement. I throw a super thick yoga mat on, and that's kind of my workspace for the guitars when I'm doing this stuff. And one thing I wanted to point out while I was doing this is you'll see that I'm just making sure that I'm not putting pressure on that neck so that the headstock, of the guitar is actually kind of resting off the table there. So we're just trying to be careful, not push down on that headstock while we're going. Some of the spots with some of the fretboards that maybe have a lot of wood grain in them, you are going to have to kind of try to work a little bit harder to get in the grain and really clean those up a little bit. But overall, it's pretty easy. You might have to let it sit for a minute and then go back over it once or twice, and it'll help lift everything up out of there if you let it kind of saturate itself into the pores and into the wood grain. So what I'm talking about right there is basically I bought this in the fall from a really nice seller on Reverb. It was a really good interaction. So I'm gonna dig that back up, and I'll put a link to the shop on here. I got this kind of directly from I believe one of the main distributors for the product. And it was a lot cheaper just to get it directly from them than to go through like StuMac was going to be like almost like after shipping costs to get this little bag, it was going to be almost $20 from StuMac. I think it was about $10 or $11 shipped to my house maybe. And this will be guitar number 4 that I have done on this package, and you see probably about half of the package left still. So, I mean, you really get a lot of use out of this. And then a guitar like this, for some reason, it was just a super dry fretboard. So I'm not sure, I'm not sure if this is going to be like the rosewood, that's going to be like a 2 times a year kind of conditioning thing. But at least once a year, you're probably going to want to use this on most of your guitars. You want to look up and do a little bit of research on your fretboard and what you need to do to maintain it. The oil, like the lemon oil in this, is kind of supposed to be really safe for most woods. I'm not going to say it's safe for all woods, obviously. So just do a little bit of research. If you buy your guitars from like Sweetwater or anything like that, just get a hold of your rep and have them find out for you, if this is an okay product to use. If you're worried about it, shouldn't have any issues. But then just like about everything else, I would just find like one little spot I would test out and make sure that doesn't do anything to it on the rest of your fretboard, as far as it could. So just be careful about that. If you see now you get to the upper frets, or you get down to the lower frets, you can get in really kind of dig in there a little bit and buff it up a little bit more. And then periodically you'll just kind of see me go back down all the way to the end of the fretboard. I just like to be really thorough and just kind of get whatever I can off of there. Because of the way that it interacts, because it's, got that tiny bit of acidity in it, don't think that you're just going to scrub and scrub and scrub until you don't get any more black spots on the pad itself. You will continue to get black stuff on the pad, and that's just, going to be from that little bit of acidity kind of interacting with your frets. So just kind of go over everything a couple times real fast, buff the heck out of it with your rag, and you're good to go. You don't need to wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe and wipe. You're gonna probably remove some of the coloration of the wood for the fretboard, or you're just gonna be doing nothing at a certain point except for wasting your energy. So you can see here, we're most of the way done at this point. And just look how shiny that is. And maybe it's just a head thing, but if you kind of look around at some of the reviews online for this product, because you're getting all the gunk off of your frets, getting all the gunk and polishing up your fretboard itself, as far as, I really believe this, as far as doing your string bends, it just glides across those frets since it's now conditioned and smooth, like the fretboard itself. I think it brightens up the tone just a little bit. It just makes it a nicer instrument to play, because that fretboard feels so nice after you get done with this. It's incredible. And then the other side of that is, this is my Schecter KM6 guitar. And if you watch my review, if you haven't watched it, I'll link it down below. One of my only big things was, because I did a review totally stock of it, I could only get down to like a drop D flat, really like a drop D down half a step tuning. And these pickups on there just were not ideal for that tuning. They're a little bit too bright for it. So now that I have put these heavier gauge nickel wound strings on, which are not NY XL, they're not my normal String source strings, these are just an older pair that I had lying around that I wanted to just go ahead and use. Look at that, it's just beautiful. Once I get the Voodoo pickups that I wanted to get, I'll put some good string source strings on there and some locking tuners. But now that I have these heavier gauge strings on there and I have it tuned to drop C, these pickups are really, really a lot better for drop tunings than they are for like a drop D or a standard tuning. It sounds so much better. And if I wasn't so excited to try a pair of the Voodoo strings or the Voodoo pickups on there, I absolutely would just leave this thing totally stock other than the locking tuners. So keep that in mind. I will do a little sound thing. I want to start doing some more sound examples with like my fractal and the different modules I use on that. And I'm going to show off how much better this sounds as a drop C guitar versus a drop D guitar. So keep that in mind. If you want to drop the tuning on these guitars, those pickups are going to just be awesome for any kind of drop C, or if you're doing a 7-string that's a little bit longer scale. I'm pretty sure that a drop A or a drop, G or something would sound incredible on those. So that's it. Smash that like button. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day or weekend, depending on when I get this set up.